CNN has decided to cover the mayhem taking place in New York, and it's not
supposedly
going
some of
very
these
well.
comments are as a result of the attempt against Mayor Mamdani.
To be clear, the attack wasn't on Mayor Mamdani.
What?
It was on people it was attacking protesters, people protesting Mamdani.
There was no attempt on the mayor.
To frame it as an attack would actually completely reverse what happened. Someone threw a bomb that didn't go off at the protest.
They don't know what happened. Or they do. They're just held hostage by the narratives they've created.
It's not just CNN. The vast majority of the media coverage has tried to confuse you into thinking that it was the far-right protesters who were violent. So the media keeps saying that these IEDs were ignited, outside Gracie Mansion. And that is intentional. They intentionally want you to think that the far-right protesters were being violent, but they were being non-violent. Whatever you think of their ideology, I think it's bad. Whatever you think about it, that was protected speech. It was the people who were on the side of the left-wing agitators, these ISIS-inspired young people from Pennsylvania who were violent, the only ones who were violent there. And the entire media coverage on the left has sought to hide that from people.
Yeah, for some reason. It's almost like we're not supposed to think that the left-wing agitators here might be on the wrong side of history.
You guys see this nice little report from CNN? Yeah. It starts off, 2 Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. I wonder what happened next. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change. I wonder what happened, as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs. Why would you start off this report with 2 Pennsylvania teenagers? Okay, because they were motivated by ISIS and they're not white. That explains why we didn't get any honesty in reporting here. Yeah. Otherwise, this would have read something like 2 men motivated by ISIS conduct terrorist attack in New York City. Yeah, that's what honest journalism would have looked like.
It's unbelievable the level of covering that we're looking at here. But the question is why? Why is it so hard to report the truth?
The investigation escalated once again.
Oh, it did?
Federal sources telling me more IEDs were discovered in a Pennsylvania storage unit connected to this case.
Wow.
You can hear an explosion as the bomb squad conducted a controlled detonation to safely remove these devices for further analysis.
They had an arsenal, a weapons shed. Look at a public storage facility. This is crazy. How come this can't get reported? That's wild.
Investigators say the homemade bombs Ibrahim Qayyumi and Amir Balat carried to a Saturday protest in New York City never detonated, but if they had, it would have been catastrophic.
That's crazy.
Both men appeared in federal court yesterday. The FBI says the suspects made multiple pro-ISIS statements, and one of them expressed a desire to carry out an attack even bigger than the Boston Marathon bombing. Fox News Digital captured these images of the homes of the 2 suspects, both located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Wow. They live in some nice homes, and apparently their parents came to the U.S. from somewhere else. And this is the life that their parents were able to provide for them. Here, look, you get 2 cars in the driveway. Why would they disrespect all the sacrifices their parents made to come here? This is very frightening.
Both men are U.S. citizens. One suspect's parents naturalized U.S. citizens from Turkey.
Oh, wow.
The other naturalized U.S. citizens from Afghanistan. An attorney for Amir Balat on the left said his client was a high school senior with, quote, complicated stuff going on in his personal life. Ibrahim Qayyumi on the right graduated from high school in 2024, according to a Pennsylvania school district.
Listen, just because you're in high school, if you're 18 or older, you're an adult in this country. I don't care if you're still in high school. That doesn't matter. There's no excuse for this. And to refer to people as children or teenagers, I mean, we're missing the point here. Unless the point is to cover it up.
Here's the original post. CNN writing, quote, 2 Pennsylvania teenagers
they deleted that.
Crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Yeah, that's their first line. But after facing fierce criticism, CNN put out a statement saying the post, quote, failed to reflect the gravity of the incident,
Right.
thereby breaching the editorial standards we require for all our reporting.
Look, if you have editorial standards that are required for all reporting, how does something get published and reported if it breaches those standards? Maybe there was a mix-up, but some people are going to look at this and they're going to say, you know what, this was done on purpose, and the only reason there's any backtracking was because there was enough complaining. Meanwhile, Elon Musk says the person with the blowhorn is actually the most dangerous.
And then tell everyone else.
Wow.
That's me in the video, getting a bomb thrown over my head. We were counter-protesting, making Jake Lang look like the idiot that he is.
Okay.
When these two idiots came along and committed an act of terrorism, they could not have done more to legitimize Jake Lang's talking points. They literally threw the bomb over my head while I was talking about inclusion. Elon Musk and all of right-wing media are having a field
So he's
day
the
right
victim.
now because I am choosing inclusion and not bigotry.
Well, you are choosing inclusion, and multiple things can exist at once. So let's go back to the beginning. You called Jake Lang a racist idiot, and you said those two terrorists are idiots as well. But you're also an idiot. There were at least 4 idiots there that day. I talked about why Jake Lang is an idiot. Obviously, those 2 terrorists are idiots because, well, they're terrorists. I don't think I need to explain too much of that in detail. And you're an idiot because you almost got blew up, and you're not even really recalibrating and saying, it is important who we let into our country.
But the problem for the protesters and for networks like CNN is if they want to admit that any of this is a problem, their entire world falls apart. But here's what the mayor has to say.
Go ahead. Hi. So given that both of the alleged attackers at Gracie said they were inspired by ISIS, and given New York City's sort of perennial status as a soft target, I was wondering if you had any, words of advice to any young people who might find themselves being drawn to that particular ideology.
I think first and foremost, just to make it clear to everyone that extremism and hatred of any kind will not be tolerated in our city. And that is regardless of whatever ideology motivates any person to commit an act of violence. There is no tolerance for it here. What we want to deliver to New Yorkers is a city that is safe, is a city that believes in the values where
everyone who calls New York City home is a part of it. This all sounds great, but people are saying the mayor's actions recently do not line up with what he just said. And CNN got this one right.
Taking some heat from some circles after posting this picture with a high-profile Palestinian activist detained and released by ICE. The mayor writes, quote, "We marked the 1-year anniversary of detention. Rama and I were honored to welcome Mahmoud," meaning Mahmoud Khalil, Noor, and their son Dean to Gracie Mansion to break our fast together. It is Ramadan.
Yeah, he's not
Mahmoud is a New
controversial.
Yorker and he belongs in New York City, unquote. Now, you might remember Mahmoud Khalil as the anti-Israel protester from Columbia University, to say the least.
Right? This is who he's having dinner with after this recent event while making statements that everyone belongs in New York City, but he's having people over at his house that may not hold those same beliefs while his wife is liking posts by people just like this individual. There is a real problem here, a real mismatch between public statements from the mayor and what's going on in his own home. But just before we continue, you may have seen the conversations online lately about how censorship is back. And it's happening everywhere. Platforms are controlling narratives and they're pushing the stuff they want us to see. We need to fight back. And Rumble is the only company that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On the one side, Rumble is challenging big tech censorship, but on the other side, they have introduced something that will give us protection from the big banks shutting us down. Banks can cancel our accounts and freeze our credit cards. So that's why they launched Rumble Wallet, a wallet no one can cancel, and a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators like myself without any middleman taking a cut. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch it. It's yours, only yours, yours to protect your future and your family. You can buy and save digital assets like Bitcoin and Tether Gold in one place. Tether Gold is real gold on the blockchain with real ownership of physical gold bars. It's not only a wallet to buy and save, but it also allows you to support your favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button. There will be no fees when you tip my channel or others. We actually receive the tip instantly. unlike other platforms where we have to wait for payouts. You can support my show and others by clicking the tip button on my Rumble channel. That's wallet.rumble.com. Download Rumble Wallet today, open an account, and step away from the big banks. For good, wallet.rumble.com or search Rumble Wallet in your app store.
The Trump administration is working through an appeal to try to deport him for exercising his First Amendment rights. Let's discuss this and more with the panel. So today, White House spokesperson Anna Kelly told the New York Post, no one should be feting the anti-American pro-terrorist activities of Mahmoud Khalil, who made his name as a ringleader of violent anti-American and anti-Semitic university protests
while destroying
that harmed
Columbia.
American foreign policy interests. The Trump administration goes on.
Guy's dangerous.
To accuse him of leading activities aligned to Hamas. What do you make of this?
That is a big accusation.
So first of all, I get the point. He's defending, like he was exercising his First Amendment rights. I get the talking point. Part of my problem is that we live in a culture now that the second you're discriminated against or face state action because of your First Amendment right exercises, that makes you a martyr, makes you kind of a hero. This guy's not a hero. He's a putz.
Yeah.
The organization that he was part of just got into trouble at the beginning of this war by tweeting out "Death to America." The organization was pro-Hamas. It was he and the organization defended the 10/7 attacks in pretty.
And this is a big problem. This goes against the idea that New York City is a welcoming place for everyone. If folks like this are going to be held up as the standard we should all aspire to, and as people we should listen to, whose opinions should matter to all of us, when they don't.
The other night, instead of hosting the 2-star police chief who leaped over the barricades and ran this guy down who had thrown the bomb, the mayor decides at Gracie Mansion to host Mahmoud Khalil. I mean, he's sending such a awful message here to the rank and file.
Wow.
And remember, the mayor, when he was a private citizen who had commented on Twitter then that he saw a cop crying in his car and nature was healing. This is something that, again, the men and women of the NYPD will do the right thing. They're going to enforce the laws. They're going to show up for work. But they understand that this man on the screen right now does not have their backs.
And those same cops that he wanted to defund, especially that unit that is responsible for the protests, they are the people that saved his life over the weekend.
You know that phrase, you are who you hang out with? Well, that phrase is not aging well in the context here. Meanwhile, the mayor is continuing to use the city's unaffordability crisis to inflict us all with communism. Listen to this.
So here we zo again, Mayor Mamdani moving closer to making his progressive dream a reality.
A progressive
his
dream.
campaign promise to make New York City home to the nation's highest minimum wage is now headed to City Council for approval.
Oh.
If passed, minimum wage would nearly double in the Big Apple by 2030, jumping from $17 an hour today to $30 an hour.
Now, here's how this afflicts everybody here with communism. If you double the minimum wage, you're going to half the number of people employed at some of the companies that now have to pay twice as much. And what does that mean? It means there's going to be more redistribution for all of the programs that are supposed to be helping people, all of the freebies. There's going to be more excuses for freebies because we're going to now have more people who don't have access to the American dream for some reason that we just can't seem to figure out, even though our goal is to bring about an economic system that has never worked anywhere in the world and is going to be tried in America for the first time right here.
Mom and pop shops say that with already sky-high rent and rising costs, this pay hike could be the final straw and force them to cut jobs.
Yep.
Larry Kudlow, explain
man.
why minimum wage does, or I'm assuming in your opinion, does not work.
I think he should have gone right to 50.
What a cheapskate.
You know what I mean? I mean, why stop at 30?
Yeah, if you're gonna do it.
I mean,
Why not?
That's what I would have done. But I mean, look, these guys are working off margins that are very small, urban stores. I mean, except for some of the fancy.
And when they close down, there's going to be another excuse for the free grocery stores that are on their way.
European stores. But your basic mom and pop store doesn't have much of a profit margin.
No.
So you're going to have to pay labor. It's hard to they're not going to have the productivity gains to keep unit labor costs down and justify it. I mean, you should let the market should set the wage price. The market should set the clearing price of whatever goods or services you're buying. It's just crazy stuff. It's socialist stuff, but, you know.
But what fascinates me, Brian, is that the messaging works. People hear higher wage and they think, yes, power to the people, but they don't understand the ripple effects.
Because they walk into a business, like, let's just say a Target or a massive store where there's a whole bunch of workers, and they say, gee, wouldn't it be great if everybody in here earned twice as much money? I mean, of course it would be. But the problem is, if the people who are there are all forced to earn twice as much money, half of them are going to have to disappear for that place to stay open. So the consequence is not apparent when you look at a potential problem. Here's the other problem. How does somebody get $30 worth of skills? How do they get that? They don't get it in high school. They probably don't get it at NYU. They get it from the workforce. If you enter the workforce and you have to enter at $30 an hour worth of skills, and your skills are maybe around the $10 or lower range, how do you get that first job? You don't.
And we have the AI conversation. Will AI kill jobs or create jobs? And I think it's going to create jobs overall. But the area where I do think it will team up with policy and kill jobs is this. Yes, there are moms and pops that may not be able to employ AI, but then you've got that whole layer of retail where it's actually like national or multinational retail, and they have operations here. And they see this, and they've got 10 companies with an AI solution breathing down their neck saying, if you don't want to pay $30 an hour, I've got a way for you to do inventory and stocking and tracking and customer service, and you don't need any people. And AI is going to get a toehold, and I don't blame AI for doing this, but you know that their salespeople are calling these companies right now and saying, we can help you avoid the cost of this. And those companies are going to say 100%. Yes. And Zoran's going to blame AI, and he's going to want to regulate AI. And the problem isn't AI, it's you.
But this is perfect if your objective is to put communism in place somewhere, because you need external problems caused by your own policies that you can then circle back to and say, hey, this is the reason over here for why we need more of the stuff that I want, for why we need more free grocery stores. And to get that free stuff, I have to raise taxes. You know what else they're talking about doing here? Look at this right here. Taxes are going up in New York City to pay for all the free stuff. But now the Democratic Socialists of America are drumming up support to tax people who make more than $300,000 a year. That was never something the mayor ran on. Everything is going to implode on New York City from a financial perspective. And the sad thing is the voters here who voted in socialism, they're the ones that are going to have to pay for it. And this is not even the mayor's fault. The mayor was completely clear about who he was. He was clear about what he supported. He was clear about what his political background was. He was clear about the economic system he wanted, and people voted for it. So all the news we're watching, the guests he has for dinner, all of this, none of it should be surprising at all. What do you think about this? I'll see you in the next video.